Right, and it is now 7:27 a.m. Time to get to our next discussion this morning. And Kenya's population, about 30.3%, is made up of the youth. That's the categorization, and 70% of the unemployed in Kenya are the youth. So very concerning, big numbers. This one's worrying. And this morning I'm joined in studio by Michelle Waikenda, who's a youth affairs advisor and consultant, to break down some of the issues first when you're talking about youth and the challenges they face, but also the opportunities out there. We've talked about and we've heard about the Uwezo Fund that was launched by the president the other day. There's a 30% public procurement that's out there for women, youth, and persons with disabilities. And the other day, in his new platform on social media that uses the hashtag #AskWaikenda, he was talking about the youth getting involved in agriculture. Just one of those things we've not seen happening often. And so we'll venture into that as well and see how do we get more youth involved. It's all about youth empowerment. They have to be empowered and equipped so that, of course, Kenya can get to that next level, as even we marked 50 years of independence this year. Michelle, asante sana.
Thank you for having me.
For making time for us this morning.
Appreciate it.
First, clearly you have a huge passion for youth. I mean, I've seen you talk about this in articles, different articles on social media. Where does that come from? Is it just because you're young?
No, I think my passion started from the campaigns.
Yeah.
I was in charge of this thing called Dunda na Uhuru, where we went around the country talking to the youth of the country, telling them to vote for Uhuru Kenyatta and the Jubilee government, which they did. And when I was talking to a lot of the young people around the country, is when I was able to connect with them, and I decided to take it upon myself to speak on their behalf, and also to ensure that their agenda is pushed forward always.
Yeah. And as you went around the country talking to these young people, what is it you came to realize? What is the situation on the ground for most people? Because many will talk about, yes, they're unemployed, many are involved in drugs, many get to robbery and all manner of vices. But what was your experience going around?
Youth they're hustlers.
Yeah.
They want opportunities.
Okay.
They don't want handouts. All they're asking for is an opportunity for them to pay for the bills, and for them to be able to ensure that they pay all the bills for their families, and make a better living for themselves. They're looking for the opportunities in government and around business fraternity to ensure that they can be able to uplift their lives as well.
Yeah.
And all they're asking for is that chance. They just want a chance and an opportunity to get that done.
Okay, and the government is now giving them a chance in several avenues. We'll begin with the Uwezo Fund. It was launched the other day, 6 billion. It's not little money. Some have argued it should have just been given, just go and, some bottomless pit and doesn't come back. But how it works is that it actually does get to go around. But how and where are we now with the Uwezo Fund? It was launched, and we're not hearing much about it, but has it taken off? Are people benefiting?
Not yet, and the reason being that there were some structures that the members of parliament had to pass first before it can be able to be released. I do know that according to the Devolution Cabinet Secretary, Anne Waiguru, she had gotten all those approvals done from last week. So in the weeks following up, we should see money being distributed. And I believe that if youth go to the CDF offices from this week and next week, they should be able to get the forms, start the application process, and I'm confident that before the end of this month, the money will start to be distributed and they'll be able to start empowering themselves. And
what is required for a young person watching this somewhere and thinking, okay, this money, I want to be able to access it and use it. What is the requirement?
Firstly, you have to be either a youth, woman, or person with disability.
Right.
At least 70% of the directors must be within those three categories. Additionally, 100% of the leadership must be within those categories as well. For the Uwezo Fund, you must be between 9 and 15. So get between 9 to 15 friends. Register a company or a group. Make sure you have all the documents. Once you have that registered, go to the either the youth fund to get registered through there, or Treasury to register a company as a youth-based company. Once that is done, the only other step is to go to your local CDF office, or you can also go to the website. The website, I think it's uwezo.go.ke. You can get the application form, apply. The maximum you can get is 500,000 shillings. It's based on need. And based on your business idea and what exactly it is you want to do. Once you apply, every CDF office has a thing called the Uwezo Fund Management Committee, which will analyze your application form and then forward it over to a national office, which is headed by the Cabinet Secretary, which spearheads the entire Uwezo Fund. I would recommend to the youth of this country to take advantage of this because it's there, it's available. It will spur economic growth in the country, and a lot of the youth, if you take advantage, you'll be able to set up your businesses and ensure that you empower yourselves. So I definitely recommend it to all the youth of this country to take advantage of this.
And the biggest concern has been from the very beginning when there was talk, of course, that money was to be used in the runoff, which was not there, and so this Uwezo Fund was set up. And the concern mainly has been that with this particular fund, will it achieve its intended purpose, or will we see, as we've seen with other projects in the past, same script, different cast, them failing, being marred with a lot of corruption allegations and misuse of funds. So what are we likely to see difference? What has been put and set up to ensure this actually works for the youth?
I think in the past, the problem that has been there is management of these funds and these projects. I believe very much in the Cabinet Secretary, Anne Waiguru, who is in charge of the whole youth docket. She has put in a very vibrant team that is managing this, and she's so passionate about it herself that she's managing it herself. So every document that goes into the Uwezo Fund Management Committees on the CDF level, the national level also goes through these documents as well, just to make sure that the right people are getting these documents, the money. So what I believe is that with the new management in place, with the CS in place, and her being very passionate about the youth, I believe that this will be very successful. But also additionally, it's also on the youth to take advantage of this and not just use the money in a very bad way. Because it's easy for you to go and apply and you just use the money for something else. So I encourage the youth also, when you get this money, think about empowering yourself. Think about that business opportunity that can employ 10 or 20 people around your mtaa, you know. Empower other young people, mentor other young people, because the money is there, but we also have to ensure that the youth of this country take advantage and empower themselves and make something out of this money that is there. And so that, you said, is not yet rolled out. Some things just been put together. In about a month or so it will be communicated when people can now begin to get this money. I believe before the end of this month, young people should be able to apply for the money and get money as well. Let's cross to the 30% government procurement again for youth, women and persons with disabilities. Take us through that and how it works exactly. What happens is that the government and the president has pledged that 30% of all government tenders will go to women, youth and persons with disabilities. Meaning that almost 300 billion shillings has been set aside for young people, for women and persons with disabilities. So to qualify for this, you have to be, it's basically almost the same requirements as for the youth fund, meaning that 70% must be youth, women and persons with disabilities, and 100% must be run by the same 3 people. So to take advantage of this, all you need to do is register a company, a limited company or a community-based organization, whichever one, so long as you have the documents to prove that you're registered. Once you've registered it, you go to Treasury and register with Treasury as a youth-based company. You'll be told to fill up some documents. Once you're done, now you just look for tenders. As a young company, make sure that you have all the documents, your PIN, KRA. All the directors have their PINs as well. All the documents, the regular documents must be prepared. And the last step is watch out for tenders. Majority of the time what happens is that ministries post tenders, regular tenders and tenders for youth. So they'd say these tenders have been set aside for the youth. And what we're encouraging and what we're requesting the government is that, and the government ministries, is not to give young people just the bush slashing and the cleaning jobs. Youth can be contractors. We can build roads, we can build buildings. We just need the opportunity. So I'm requesting other cabinet secretaries to take advantage and give youth contracts that we can be able to take advantage of. And I like that you're saying that, because the issue also becomes a question of experience and also quality. Because someone will argue, okay, these are young people, they're coming in together. If I give them this particular, tender, in terms of what they can actually do, first for experience, is not
some will argue not much, and also quality, because then they're still gaining that experience. So that becomes a challenge, and also what kind of tenders are put out there for them.
Right.
So how can this be sorted or dealt with?
I think this is it's a perception thing.
Okay.
To get experience, you have to work, or you have to do something to get experience. If every job I apply for, I'm told to be a contractor, you need experience, how will I ever apply for those big contracting jobs? So it means that the youth will always be sidelined, being told, bado na experience, till when? We have to give young people a chance. Give them that one small road, 2 kilometers, and tell them this is for young people without experience. Try it out, be a road contractor, and if you can be able to build from this, then we'll give you 100 kilometers. Same thing for construction. Give young people a small building, an apartment or something somewhere, and tell them, we understand that young people don't have experience, but this is for you to be able to learn from this one small project.
Okay.
But I believe the whole story about experience should not be an excuse, not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, where the
So
majority
you think they should just be given a chance, try it out. Correct. If it fails, then we can revert and say, yeah, we tried and it did.
No, if it, God forbid, it fails,
yes,
then they learn from it, and and hopefully maybe even something to say, you know what, you did this wrong and you did that wrong. Okay. This is how you can improve. Not to also make them look like you did such a big mistake. No, they're learning at the end of the day. Yeah. The only way we'll have multi-millionaire and billionaire youth contractors is by giving them opportunities now.
Okay. And also another issue of concern in this would be how you stop unscrupulous people, because these are youth coming together and they will bid for these tenders and they will get them because they are for the youth. So what if there are these persons behind this, forces that you get it or even buy it out from them at the end of the day, so that at the end there is assurance that these youth are actually going to gain, that there will not be some people with some crazy ideas saying, okay, so we're just going to use these people as a pawn, and
Guys with unscrupulous people are always there.
Yeah.
We cannot avoid them from applying and taking advantage of the youth of this country.
Right.
What I suggest is, I urge the youth of this country to be smart. 70% must be owned by youth. 100% must be led by youth. As a young person, be smart. You own the company. Even though they pushed you, then give them 10% after you're done.
Yeah.
But you own the company. So regardless of them trying to push you and try and make it look like they're going to run everything, you have control and ownership of the company. So make sure you take advantage of it, and usigongwe, take advantage and take that money. And
this is the problem is, well, that is the right position to take. The values would allow for that to happen. But the problem would be if a temporal, there's this issue with the youth, and they've been accused of wanting that quick, instant gratification. So that, of course, in working, it will take a while for you to bear results, for you to get to where you want to go. But somebody comes in and they're promising all this money all at once. Many would be tempted to fall to that. So it takes a sense of knowing that I need to build this so that it's sustainable. Because I can get this now from these other parties, but it will not at the end be sustainable.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's where I think mentorship comes into play. We need to mentor, young people need to mentor other young people. And we also need to have role models and mentors in Kenya who we can be able to look up to and say, I want to be like that person. And additionally, have other young people who can motivate young guys. Quick gains and money quickly, it's not there. 1 out of 1,000 or 2,000 possibly get it done, but it doesn't happen frequently. If we can have that narrative keep on talking about it, and meaning that we have people that talk about it and mentor the young people about it, I think youth of Kenya will realize that money that comes quickly goes quickly.
Yeah.
And also it's more important to build a legacy and to build wealth compared to just riches.
Yeah.
So I think if we can focus on mentorship, I believe a lot of the young people of this country don't be taken advantage of.
Yeah. And the World Bank estimates that each year Kenya releases 800,000 young people into the job market, but only 50,000 secure the what we call white-collar jobs. So that's a very tiny percentage of that number, which is huge. And unfortunately, there's also a mindset that, after school, and children all the time are asked, when you finish school, what do you want to become? Doctor, pilot. That's all good. But unfortunately, it has also sometimes gotten so much ingrained in the young people that we are afraid to think outside the box in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of just starting out projects. So what is your word of advice for the youth not to get caught up in just getting employed all the time? Because I think that's a big part of it. Hakuna kazi, tunaomba serikali. We hear a lot of that all the time.
I would urge the youth of Kenya not to look at themselves as employers,
Yeah.
but employees, as prospective employees, and to look for opportunities for how they can get to being an employer as quick as possible.
Yeah.
The reason why government is doing all these things, so Uwezo Fund, 30%, is to encourage entrepreneurship and to encourage young people to be employers.
Right.
They have to take advantage of these opportunities as well. Look for ideas that can ensure that they succeed as employers, and ensure that they empower other young people in the process as well. It starts from, as I said, mentorship again.
Right.
Make it clear that it can be done. When we do Ask Waikenda and we talk to young people around the country about farming, a lot of the young people come up and they say, I didn't know farming was this prestigious or this good. The image they have in their mind is people in overalls and gumboots and dirty. And when they talk to other young people online, they realize, you see young people who started off with maybe 1 chicken, and now maybe has 2,000 chicken in a span of a year. 2,000 chicken worth about $1 million shillings. And the image they have is after class in Daystar, they go to the farm, they have their iPad, they have their phone, they take pictures, they post them on social media. They talk about their farming practices on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
So it makes people realize, why do I need to get a job? A job, I'll get paid 60, 50,000, and here, selling chicken, I can get 200, 300,000 shillings a month. I think if we can mentor more young people and make them understand that the opportunities are there, but you have to take advantage of them,
Yeah.
I believe that we'll be able to make that shift from employees to employers for the youth of this country.
Yeah. And I like that I was following that discussion online when you're talking about importance of agriculture and the youth getting involved, and it really does need to be demystified, because young people think ni ashosho na guka ushago. If they imagine here agriculture ni kushika na kulima and getting dirty and you're getting 10 bob after that, not much money, but there really is a lot of potential in that, and the youth need to perhaps take it up a little bit more.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem the youth have had is just mentorship and the connections.
Yeah.
Meaning that you have someone online who you have his Twitter handle and his or her Twitter handle, and you can keep on asking them, okay, I have 1 chicken. Where do I get market for these eggs?
Yeah.
Where do I sell them after slaughter? What do I do? What kind of feeds do I get? And now people are using social media in the right way, in that now they're able to network with like-minded farmers.
Right.
They're able to look for market online as well, and they're able to take advantage of all those opportunities on social media.
Right.
Guys are looking for mechanization. They're trying to look for different ways of farming that has not been done before.
Yeah.
So I think if we can create that shift and young people to understand and realize that farming is cool, it works, and you can make a lot of money. It doesn't even have to be your main source of income. You can still do your business, you can still go to school, but that 1 acre plot you have somewhere in Ruai or somewhere, use that, set up a greenhouse, sell cabbages, do something. You're more likely to make more money there than in your business.
Yeah.
There are many other industries around the country and around our country that you can be able to take advantage of.
Yes.
This is just one of them. But through Ask Waikenda, the plan is to make people aware of all the opportunities that are there for the youth in this country.
Right.
And make them into employers.
Yeah. And you think our curriculum, our education system is encouraging this as well? Or are we also just being trained to be these people who, after coming out, graduating, we're just out there looking to be employed?
I believe our curriculum makes us very good employees.
Okay.
We are told, go to school, get a good, well-paying job, and work in that job for the rest of your life. And that's why we need capacity building across our country.
Yeah.
We need to teach young people about business practice. What does it mean to be an employer? What are the financial classes that you need to take?
Yeah.
And how do you even treat your employees as well? I think if we can have that conversation around the country, and we see how we can have capacity building classes in every county, and we sustain that throughout indefinitely.
Yes.
And a young person can walk into this class and learn about all these things. I think we would have achieved a lot in our generation.
And I like what you're saying about capacity building, especially at the counties, because, and we'll talk a little bit more about Ask Waikenda, it's on social media and it trends. I watch on Thursdays, it's at #1 in terms of the hashtags that are trending. But now that we have devolved, we have a devolved system of governance. And the question is always, and the majority are the ones mashinani.
Right.
Most of them don't have access to this, internet, and they will not catch that conversation then. And so how to capture them and still inspire, empower, and equip them with this, so that at the end of the day, we are all growing together.
My vision for Ask Waikenda within the next within the next 6 months is to go down to the county level.
Okay.
To have a monthly capacity building thing throughout the 47 counties.
Right.
So to get a place or an avenue where youth are empowering themselves. I don't have to be there, but we say these young people are models and they're mentors. So they organize monthly capacity building programs. They get youth from around their county together. They talk about the different topics. And if this can be replicated around the country, I think we would have something that young people online, offline, on the ground, in the rural areas are being empowered, and we get to grow together.
Where did it start? Ask Kenda. I just wondered, so a lot of tweets, retweets, and I'm like, okay, there's a whole conversation going on, but what motivated, what got that inspired, that start?
I think it's on my social media platforms, I talk to the youth a lot. I try to mentor them, I try to inspire them. So a lot of them were asking me, okay, yes, you're empowering us online. What are you doing for all the other youth that are not able to take advantage of your social platforms? So it got me thinking that I wanted to spread out my wings and see how I can be able to mentor a bit more people than usual. So we started off with Ask Kenda on Twitter. It started growing. A lot of people took note. And they started participating.
So it's you tweeting?
Me tweet. I tweet myself.
Okay.
I tweet myself, and they started participating. They started coming up with ideas, and right now it's grown by the people that participate. It shows that there's a very big need for mentorship, capacity building programs and youth empowerment in Kenya. As I said, my dream is to see a point where young people are able to do Ask Kenda or ask whatever it is they're going to call them on the county level over a span of a year, so that they can be able to empower each other, and we can be able to say we're looking up to, in our county, Murang'a County, we're looking up to these 10 mentors that are doing a lot for the youth. They are passionate about youth empowerment, and additionally that they have taken advantage of the opportunities in government and made themselves into something. If we can get to there and have such discussions in this country, I think I would have achieved a lot with Ask Kenda.
As we wind up, are there other opportunities? We talked about the 30%. It's a great opportunity in terms of tenders. We talked about the Uwezo Fund that's been set up. Are there other opportunities in government?
What I believe, we're looking at the Jubilee Manifesto. The president has promised very many things for the youth of this country. They are endless. I think in every point, it's something relating to the youth. I believe that in the next 1 year, he will do a lot more, because in a span of, I think they've been there for about 6-7 months. They have already done 2 very big things for the youth. In the next 1 year, I believe we'll see a lot more things for the youth. What I encourage the youth to do is to be ready. Get your company together, get all the documents and certifications together and ready. So that when these opportunities come, you don't have to start looking for other young people to form a company. You don't have to start looking for, where's that KRA certificate? Or where do I get it? Or what is a KRA certificate? By then, you should have all your companies ready. Companies, doesn't have to be one. You've been registered as a youth company. You've taken advantage of Uwezo Fund. You've taken advantage of Youth Fund. You have applied for a couple of tenders and ideally won some. So that if something comes up and it's something entertainment related, and maybe the tax breaks or the opportunities in the entertainment industry, something that's released by the president, then you have positioned yourself to take advantage of them before anyone else. You're ready, exactly.
Okay. Your final words to the youth out there watching the show. We're talking about youth empowerment. It's something we keep hearing, but how can this conversation become a reality, that every day we are seeing our youth getting empowered? Because really the future is in their hands, as we say.
I would say take action. It's easy for everyone to say youth are the future. And by the way, not the future, we are now. Kenya is ours now. I would say take action. The opportunities are there now. In the past, it's been rhetoric. People just keep on saying youth, we're doing this for the youth, and all these opportunities are there. What I'd like to say is take advantage of the opportunities that are there right now. Go and apply for something. If you see a tender, even though it's for 100 million shilling road tender and it looks like it's unbelievably difficult to apply for, give it a shot. Take your documents, let them say no. No is the best answer you can ever get, because at least you've given it a shot. Take action, take advantage. And the worst thing we can do as youth is not take advantage of these opportunities. If by end of next year, they're taking stock of Uwezo Fund and they realize that the youth didn't take advantage, we as youth will have failed. Same thing for 30%. Let it be said that we over-applied for tenders.
Right.
We over-applied for the Wezo Fund.
Okay.
So now the government can go back and say, how do we make the 6 billion into 60 billion?
Yes.
And how do we make that 30% into 80%? We're still the majority in this country.
Yeah.
So we're demanding not only of 30, but even
more.
50 exactly.
Okay.
So
finally, people who want to engage with you on Ask Waikenda, it's a lovely platform. I'll tell you all who are watching right now. It's Thursdays.
Every Thursday.
What time to what time?
From 12 to 6.
12 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Correct.
On Twitter, the hashtag is Ask Waikenda. What are you discussing the day after tomorrow?
This Thursday, we will talk about opportunities for the youth in transport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, transport. When you talk about road transport safety and all this kind of, yeah?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Michelle Waikenda, Youth Affairs Advisor and Consultant. Asante sana.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.